Alrighty boys and girls, lock and load with your best gear and squad, cause today it's time to go deep in the dungeon full of paradoxes, cause today's video we'll be looking at the Dungeon Paradox. Because in the Dungeon Paradox, a science experiment has gone awry, and a group of soldiers find themselves in a setting that seems as unlikely as it is fantastic. Go on a journey down many levels of dark, hostile dungeon, discover what secrets and treasures that lie in your path as you try to uncover the truth about your new reality. Do you have what it takes to take on the hordes of evil and the master behind it all? Now in the Dungeon Paradox, I would say it's very similar to the way XCOM plays, where you run around with your squad, you know it's grid-based, and you move around, you take orders, but instead of doing each person individually, like each person has their own turn, and then the enemy has their turn, everything moves at once. You take each character in your squad, tell them what actions you want them to take, and then you hit initiate, and then the entire thing plays out in one big cycle. Enemies are included. And if you've been following the channel for a while now, you would know that I love strategy games. Darkest Dungeon, Urtuk games I've described, Final Fantasy, anything RPG, XCOM, those kind of games. Because all strategy games come with their own set of unique problems that you need to overcome by compensating for what your squad does or doesn't have. And this game definitely comes with its own unique challenges, because if you have an automatic weapon, you try to fire fully automatic, you will miss several of the shots because of the game's recoil. You only fire with a 3-round burst, your shots will be more accurate, but you also do less damage. A single shot you're pretty much guaranteed to hit, but then again, less damage because you're not firing as many rounds. But then I know you're thinking, then why don't you just spray fully automatic at every enemy? Because obviously you'll run out of ammo and then you need to take a full action to reload. Or if you're using a shotgun, multiple actions because each reload animation only does one shell. So if you try to just spray and pray everywhere, you're going to run out of ammo and you will get killed very fast because enemies do a very large amount of damage. But that's also where you're covering for your squad's inconsistencies come in, because while one unit reloads, you can have the other 2 or 3 squad mates on Overwatch constantly watching every corner. Every time you move as a group, have everyone watch the same direction, opposite directions, one watching behind you, so if you ever get snuck up on, you always take free shots at the enemy and you always know where your enemies are at, so you can damage them easily and kill them quite quickly. But that's not to say that the enemies are very easy to kill. Some, like I assume they're called a gargoyle, I don't know because the game doesn't name them, are extremely durable and they deal tons of damage. And they're usually used as quick boss monsters behind a hidden door with a treasure chest or something. But artistically speaking, the game does look amazing. It does a fully shader-driven deferred rendering with CTAA, Cinematic Temporal Anti-Aliasing, for beautiful crisp images in 4K resolution. The animations are very well done, though admittedly if a dude's carrying a sword, he runs the same way like he's carrying a long rifle. But that's me just really being nitpicky. And speaking of being nitpicky, there's not really much bad things I can say about this game because it is very well made despite still being in early access. The really only maybe 2 things I can say about it is if you're doing any kind of interaction, say you see a health potion far away and you want to interact with it, you can interact with it by telling your character to go do it, but if they're still several spaces away when they reach the end of their cycle, the game will automatically interact with it anyway as if they are right next to it. It's a simple bug, but it's not really that bad. The only other thing I can say is, I know it's a dungeon and it's supposed to be dark and spooky and tactical, but sometimes it gets a bit too dark, or once you activate a switch to open a hidden door to continue with the level, sometimes it takes a good amount of time for you searching the map, scanning, to find where the door opened at because you can't see the difference between a shadow on the wall to it now completely being open. It's a brand new hallway. And I know I said only 2 things, but there's one more thing which I'm pretty sure will change as the game keeps developing, is the game does seem a bit empty. As in, you know, hallways are just a lot of times blank hallways. There's not a lot of design and decorum in the thing. It's just sometimes there's a few sarcophagi or some coffins, but that's far in between, and the enemies are kind of repetitive. But again, the game is still early access, so I'm pretty sure as the game develops on, they'll fill out the game world and more types of enemies will be added in. But that doesn't say the game isn't any less fun, and it's actually extremely challenging, which makes it fun. So I would definitely say any fan of tactical games, especially like XCOM, should definitely pick this up. Even though it's in early access, the game has a lot going for it, and I'm really excited to see what comes of it later down the road. So for $15, the game is definitely worth it, seeing how I really think when this game is fully finished, it'll be a lot more pricey. But that's all for today's video. Like, subscribe, do whatever you like to do. You know we love the support. And as always, we will see you in the next video. Bye, guys. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this game does have friendly fire, so don't spray the shotgun.